Alright, y'all, what's up? Let's talk about it. Jay-Z, Al Heyman beef. Now, a lot of people think that Jay-Z and Al Heyman have beef, because of Adrian Broner and obviously the situation with Beyonce and the dad suing and or stealing money from her or whatever. But I think Jay-Z and Al Heyman's issues, guys, go back to like late 90s when Jay and Rockefeller were first starting. They got on their first tour. And then once that tour started, Jay and Dame was pretty much like, man, screw this. We'll start our own tour. We ain't opening up for these dudes, or we ain't kissing nobody's ass, and then we'll do this independent. And it ended up working for them. Now, I know they've worked together on different ventures, but that's the reason why you seen Jay doesn't really like Floyd, because 50 Cent's pretty much said, I had to introduce Jay to Floyd because Jay didn't really like Floyd or whatever. So 50 introduced them to each other because they didn't like each other, but they still wanted to meet each other, respected each other's craft and work, etc. Outside of that, that's why you saw Miguel Cotto, Andre Ward, and those guys, they would fight on BT Sports or HBO versus Showtime because, Jay-Z and Al Heyman, they just don't get along. They haven't had a great relationship, I think. I don't know if it's so much to do with Beyonce. I think it's so much more to do with ego. And Al Heyman, I don't think is going to reach out and try and help Jay-Z, and I don't think Jay-Z wants any of Al Heyman's help. And that's why you've seen Jay struggle a little bit in the boxing world. But recently, that's why y'all saw Bob Arum and Jay-Z pop up as trying to work something out or work together. Because Jay, if you listen to any of his lyrics, he said he was influenced by sports. So he loves boxing, he loves basketball, he loves football, he loves baseball. Like, those are the things that Jay would keep his mind off of when he was at Marcy Projects. Of course, he loved hip-hop and he studied his craft, but outside of hip-hop and loving hip-hop, he watched sports. He loved sports. So what y'all got to understand is a lot of this is just has to do with ego. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the lawsuit, because even after that, Live Nation has worked with Jay. Live Nation has worked with Beyonce. Live Nation has worked with a lot of people associated with these two superstars. So don't get it mixed up. I think the Jay-Z Al Heyman beef has a lot to do with ego. Who's got more power? Both of them are big in music. Both of them are big in boxing. They both want to be the biggest things when it comes to sports and entertainment, when it comes to the urban, the urban arena. So, and boxing and hip-hop are big. They go side to side. You see hip-hop bloggers and boxers and rappers all the time talk about fight predictions and all that other stuff. Half of the people who have a hip-hop channel have a boxing channel. Half of the boxing people talk about hip-hop, So the two worlds are collided. So when you hear people say, this was before Beyonce. This had to do with a tour way back in the day when Jay and Dame were first coming up. So just remember that, guys. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if Jay works something out with Al Heyman, or he goes his own. If he actually works something out with Bob Arum, because that's the rumor. Bob Arum and Jay-Z are trying to work something out and get something together. So we'll see what comes of that. Peace.